Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through the industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Theodora Izzard. She is a seer, a healer, and a guide, and she offers unique and inspiring experiences to clients through God Code sessions. Welcome to the show, Theodora.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
You are welcome to the show. You are welcome to India in this online form, Theodora. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to discuss. We'll talk about God, love, and healing, and few things beyond all this. So my first question to you, Theodora, is to understand. You talk about, experiencing God. So, and they say in almost every book, they say that, God has made us in his own image. So if we are images of God, why do we have to experience God extra? Shouldn't we assume that we are experiencing him every moment of our lives? It's just that we perhaps may not aware of. I want to understand your take on this. Help us understand.
Yeah, I think that's a really amazing question. And actually, the funny thing is that the more that I have delved into my own humanity and the more that I have really got to know myself and healed things that have gone on in my life, the closer I have felt to God and the stronger my relationship with that energy has become. So I think actually, so much of the time we can think of God as this external force or energy within the universe, but actually so much of the time the way to really connect with that is by going inwards and connecting with that creative, intelligent, divine energy within ourselves.
Right. So for those people who want to, who will understand about going inwards in their own manner, in a normal sense, how, can they experience God then? Maybe they will take their own time to get to the inward journey externally if they want to, understand. How do you tell them, that, okay, this is the way you can experience God? That is why you are a seer. What does a seer do, by the way? So help us understand in this background.
So as a spiritual seer, so I have visions and am shown things that many of them will be God related. Sometimes it will be, things that may happen in the future, or so it just, I'm just able to connect in with energy on lots of different ways and in lots of different levels. I can also read people's energies very well. So I'm able to see them and their kind of true self and into their energy field very clearly, and really help people to connect with themselves and, and or that God energy within them in that way. I do that in various forms. I have a community space that we run, where people can connect and kind of, find like-minded people that are on a sort of spiritual journey, but maybe one that feels slightly different, a bit more authentic than maybe the kind of spirituality and that I think can become quite trendy at the moment. I also hold one-to-one God Code sessions. So if people have an issue that they want to change, it can be a personal issue. It could be something to do with their business. Like, for example, I had a client recently who, was a director of a company, had been running this company for 20 years, but had always felt slightly out of place, like they didn't really belong in some of the meetings that they were in. And, I guess it would be imposter syndrome. And we did a God Code healing session on that. And within 2 weeks, she was like, I feel completely different. I'm so confident. I'm saying things that, I never thought I'm so much happier in the role that I'm in. So, we can really kind of open up this ability to be able to connect and use it in a way that we want, because I think ultimately, if we're going to connect to, if we're going to working with God in our lives, is understanding that energy wants us to be the most successful and the happiest and most contented and fulfilled person, living the best life that we can be. And the God Code healing sessions really allow that to kind of take place and really change quite quickly, which I'm really happy and really excited to be able to bring to people,
Absolutely, absolutely, Theodora. So I will come to the God code thing. If God can be achieved through, through some code or something around that, I will come to that and ask you on that. But first, to understand, why do people look for God? What do they want from God? What is it, beyond the dollars, millions of dollars, and all that stuff? What do people actually want from God? And I want to understand, and in terms of your own experience, what is your experience of God? So that, I can understand. One is that the one who have experienced God, and those people who come to you to experience God in their own manner through you. So help us understand both sides of this, and then we'll come to the God code sessions.
So my experience of God and the way that I have kind of learnt to connect with that is through the feeling of unconditional love. So the more that I was doing, my own kind of healing work, I was working towards removing any kind of blocks or resistance to receiving that unconditional love in everyday form. And the more that I connected with that energy, the stronger my relationship, the more that God energy was coming through, and the more I was having God visions and all of that. And it really, one day I was sitting in a meditation, and God appeared before me and came and sat with me. And we didn't need to say anything, because I knew that we were connecting on a level that was beyond the mind. But the feeling that I had was just the most incredible amount of unconditional love and gentleness and kindness that I have ever felt in my entire life. And that has been my experience, and I think, what you were saying about what can people want from God, I think that's an individual experience, and I think that only one person can answer for themselves. But I think whatever you want from God, you will be provided with. But I have found, in not only my God Code sessions, but in the other energy healing work that I do and have done in the past, really being able to channel that energy of unconditional love and hold someone in that space allows them to do their own healing work themselves, because it's not me that's doing the healing. It's just, I just hold the space for you to connect with that energy so that you can heal yourself.
Right, Theodora. Let me ask you this way. What do your clients want from you? What is it about God that they want to learn? Or again, I'll ask the same thing. What is it that they want from God through you that they are not able to directly connect with God?
I think the common thing is that they want change. There is something in their life that they want to change, and they're not, either they've tried certain ways, or, they've hit a block and they don't know how to get through it. They don't know what the root cause of it is, or they're just not sure how, they're kind of gone, do you know what, this is my last resort. So I'll give this a go and see if it works. But I think, sometimes we can get to a point in our lives where sometimes we do have to kind of give our lives up to a higher power and go, do you know what, as my human self, I don't know what I'm doing and I need some help. And I think no matter what you're asking for, all you need to do is ask, and that help will be provided by God. So really, I provide that space really for you to be able to ask the question and allow that energy to come through and, clear everything that we need to clear so that you can make that positive change and so that changes can start happening on your behalf.
Right, Theodora. Now, help us understand what are these God code sessions? What exactly happens in there? Is it some code? Is it some special session? Help us understand that.
So it's a Zoom session, and we there's a specific protocol that I go through. We'll obviously talk about the issue that you have to begin with, so that we can really get to the root cause of what's causing that block. And then we begin to uncode. So, your beliefs, your emotions, thought patterns, things like that, the energy that you've been holding on to is kind of coded into your life. Okay. Think of it like a software on your computer. So
Right.
when we know that we don't want to be using that software anymore, we need to kind of clear it out and create space for the new software to come in and download. So that's essentially what we're doing. We go through very specifically, I clear through all of the different energy bodies through your chakras and meridians, and it clears. It's a quantum healing. So it goes through all space, time, dimensions, everywhere and anything that exists. So it's the most thorough cleansing of an energy field that I've definitely experienced. And it's why I love it so much, because it is, there's no stone left unturned in a session. So then it takes about an hour. And once we bring in the new energy, and you've really set an intention of what you want to be able to receive, and we bring that in. And normally there's normally a shift straight away. People can feel a difference even by the end of the session, but I'm finding that normally there's kind of a day of recalibration where things can feel a little bit maybe icky, or you might feel a bit tired. But then normally by day 2, you start to really feel the shift and start to see changes really happening and feeling changes within yourself. So it's a pretty rapid process, really,
Right. So does anyone have to have any special preparation for this? For example, for every software, you also have to have the platform or the hardware compatible with it. Sometimes the software might need a higher level of computer. So is it that some people are not compatible with this God code software, that they may not be able to find God? Or is it that this door is open for everyone?
No, this is 100% open to everybody, because obviously the beautiful thing about working with God coding energy is that it knows exactly everything about you and who you are and what you need. And so the healings, they will continue, until they're complete. So it can take days, weeks, months. The healing is going to continue until you are fully healed. And so, and that's the thing. Sometimes for example, if someone has a physical issue, it can take time for the body to adjust, but it's not that it's not going to happen, and that's the thing. Sometimes, yes, we do need to, if we've been holding on to a lot of density in our body, for example, yes, there may be a process of needing to shed some of that. But that's the thing, within that God coding session, everything that you need to be able to release and to be able to bring in and integrate is all part of it. So you're always going to receive exactly what you need, no matter what. And that's the beauty of it, working with the highest, most intelligent energy in the universe, is that it knows exactly what you need. So there's no way that it could ever not be for you,
Absolutely. You talk about, Theodora, about preconceived ideas around trauma recovery. Help us understand what are these preconceived ideas, or how do you look at trauma recovery, and does this social sessions help in that, in healing, apart from spiritual awakening?
Yeah, I think I have definitely done, I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life, and I've also healed a lot of trauma. And I think that when, in my experience, I was doing standard talk therapy for a number of years, and it wasn't until I brought in energy healing and was doing them alongside each other that I really began to experience the biggest shifts and the biggest healing that I could. And that's one of the things that I really love about God Code healing, is that it incorporates the body, the mind, and the soul, so that everything can be cleared on that deeper level, allowing you to really fully let go. And it's not to say that, if you've had a massive trauma, that it's not going to fix it overnight, because trauma healing does take time, and to be able to do that. But the thing that I have found the most is that to really create any kind of connection is healing. Trauma is inherently disconnection. Disconnection. It's disconnecting from ourselves, from the experience, from our feelings, from our mind, whatever we need to disconnect from to be able to keep ourselves safe in that moment. But we can get stuck in that disconnection. And so, to be able to find connection in something else is usually what people find healing. So whether that's art or people or talking or God. But I think for me personally, like I said, as I was able to open up, and because the connection with God is so vast in its possibility and what it can create, it therefore created the greatest amount of healing potential in that, because of the vastness of the energy in itself.
Right, right, Theodora. In terms of energy healing or talking about energy, where does where does this energy lie that we invoke? Is it in Mother Nature, Mother Earth, inside the ground, above in the skies, or out in the universe in some planet where God stays? Where does, or is it within us? How do you invoke that energy that can heal us? What is the process that you adopt? Is this the God code sessions? Does that happen then, or is there much more beyond that?
I think there is more beyond that, definitely. And again, I think you can find God in anything, because God is in everything, because everything has creation energy in it. So, I'm definitely very connected to Mother Earth, and I do a lot of kind of energy healing for the energetic grids of the Earth through the tree network. And I definitely find a lot of healing for myself when I connect to the trees and that Mother Earth energy. Equally, there is obviously a lot of energy that goes off in the universe and above, if you want to say that way. But, I think the thing to understand is that all of this energy is present in every way, shape, or form. But we have to understand that we are filtering it through our mind and our human form. So the energy is there. It's just how we as humans are having to compute it. So, like, to go back to the software thing, the energy is, if you don't have a screen plugged into your computer, it doesn't mean that all of the software and coding and things isn't running if you've got the main computer plugged in. But our minds and our eyes and everything are the computer screen that show us, and that's what shows up. So I think, you can find that connection in anything, whether that's, nature or music or books or other human connection, that the power of connection and divinity is everywhere. And again, it's a personal choice and you have to find what brings that feeling to you. And I think that's one of the joys of life, is being able to explore things and go, oh, what does make me feel that connected and that joyful and alive, you know?
Absolutely, absolutely. There's much to learn. All these things from you, Theodora. And so, for those who want to learn more from you, more about the sessions, to connect with you as client, what's the best way for them to do so?
If you check out my website, which is www.seerhealerguide.co.uk, there's more information about the sessions, but there's also, you can book sessions through that. There's also a community space. There's links for that on there. So, if you want to kind of get involved and just learn a little bit more, I do group God Code sessions on there once a month, so that, you can and you get the first month free. So if you want to try things out before getting really involved and, you want to get to know me a little bit more, then there's space for that to do that too. And also community members also have access to one-to-one mentoring with me over 3 hours, 3 months, 6 months. So there's lots of different levels of access and ways to try things out depending on what it is that you want and need.
Absolutely. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much.